This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, the Game Boy Geek here. Today our heart is racing because we are chasing each other around this building and we're trying to basically shoot each other up, sometimes even using a flamethrower to get the job done. Today we're going to look at a sneak peek and sort of a mini review of a game that was on my most anticipated Essen Games list called Adrenaline. This is from CGE, Czech's Game Edition. This is a game that I got a chance to play a full game at Gen Con and I really enjoyed it, and I wanted to give you a chance to learn what I liked about the game before the Essen Fair. So I'm going to give you just a little quick tutorial and then I'll tell you what I thought on my single play. Here we go. Adrenaline has a configurable board, so you can set up differently for the amount of players. For example, here's one that's great for any amount of players. Or here's one that's great for 3 or 4 players. Here's what your player board looks like, and on your turn you'll be taking 2 actions. You'll either be moving up to 3 spots, you'll be moving up to 1 spot and grabbing things like weapons, or you'll be shooting. After 2 actions, you'll then be able to reload your weapons. Now when shooting characters, there's line of sight. So this green character, because there's a door here, could shoot this yellow character. But also, because they can look and peek through this door, they could also shoot this gray character in the same purple room. So there's some cool ideas about shooting. As characters get shot, they are given blood markers from the person that shot them. So for example, this yellow player's board got shot first twice by the purple player and then the blue player. Getting shot first is a first blood, so that player will get a point. And then once the player is eventually killed, whoever did the most damage will get 8 points, second place 6, and then 4, and then so on and so forth. Once a player is killed, the player that killed them gets to put their color on this kill shot track. And at the end of the game, whoever has the most tokens of their color on the kill shot track will get the 8 points, and then 6 and 4 in progressive fashion. And after that player is killed, they take that skull and put it on their player board. So now next time they die, they're actually worth less points. So they're not as big as a target as some of the other people who have not yet died the first time. Now when you die in this game, you're not out of the game, you just respawn and you continue playing. It's really cool. Now also, instead of just getting killed, if you actually got overkilled, meaning someone did more damage than just to kill you, they actually get more tokens on the death track for endgame scoring, but you get to place a marker on their board. And what that means is next time you actually do damage to them, you will actually do more damage. Your normal damage plus however many markers you have there. So it gives you revenge. And over the course of the game, you'll be picking up these ammo tiles, which will give you cubes of those color to place on your board, and you'll be using those to pay for weapons and reload. So for example, when you come across one of these weapons at a spawn point, you can just pick up the weapon for the cost of the bottom 2. The first one's always paid for by itself, but later on if you want to reload it, you actually have to pay all 3 of these cubes to then reactivate the weapon. And some weapons have different ways to use them. Like in basic mode, this flamethrower would deal 1 damage to the player in the next square, and then another damage to somebody else in the square after that. Or you could pay 2 yellow ammo and do barbecue mode, and be able to deal 2 damage to everybody in the square next to you, and 1 damage to everybody in the square after that. You'll also be picking up power-ups over the course of the game, and here you can either use it for a special ability, in this case you could teleport to any place on the board, or you could use it for the 1 ammo as if you were reloading or picking up a weapon. The game also has multiple modes of play. You can play Sudden Death for your first game and it just ends when the skull track's over. Or you can play Final Frenzy where on the last turn everyone flips their board over. People are worth a different amount of points. And depending on where you are in turn order, you will always get some more powerful actions than usual. You'll be able to move more, shoot more, do different things to make it more exciting. There's also Domination mode where you actually get points for tagging spawn points throughout the game. You can also play in turret mode, which allows you to make the arena fight back, and you can have things trigger to hurt other players as they move through different rooms. Now that was just a brief tutorial just to give you an idea of how the game's played, what you're trying to do, the different things that you'll be doing. But if you want to see a little bit more, Paul Grogan from Gaming Rules just recently put up a video of his interpretation of how to play the game, and he always does really great jobs with awesome animation, super high quality. So if you want to learn a little bit more, I put the link to his video here that you can really see even more in depth how the game's played. Now, I played this at Gen Con, a full game. We played a 4-player game. We played the full entire game. Now, Gen Con It's crazy there. There's a million things going on, but I made it a point to go play this because I had seen it at Origins. I kind of played through one round and I was really interested. So I made it a point to go find their room, which was like in the middle of nowhere, Gen Con. It was a long walk, but it was worth the wait because the game was really amazing. I mean, after Gen Con, I did a live Q&A. And in that Q&A, one of the questions was, what was the best game you played at Gen Con? And I did play more games than usual at Gen Con, but at the same time, it's not like a BGG Con where you're playing tons and tons and tons of games. I played a decent handful or two at Gen Con, and I said this was the best game I had played at Gen Con, because it was just amazing. Now, let me put this in perspective. I don't typically like Ameritrash games. I don't typically like games where you're running around. I don't like games with combat. I don't like a lot of shooting in general. I don't like things that look anything like a little, running around rooms, dungeon crawling, or anything like that. So this wasn't one that I normally would be like super interested in, but when I saw the mechanisms and I realized that this is truly a Euro game, even though it looks like Ameritrash, as Paul always told me the first time I saw it, it's the way you can trick an Ameritrash player to play a Euro game, because it's amazing. Now, I don't play those types of games a lot, those Ameritrash games, but as a kid, I did play a lot of those first-person shooters on the consoles, started with, like Wolfenstein back in the day, then Doom, then Quake, and I did like those a lot as I was growing up and in through college. I don't play those anymore, but I liked them, and this sort of brought that feeling back to me, but on a board game level. At the same time, it made it very Euro feeling, which is, I tend to like more the Euro games, and not so much the Ameritrash. So coming from that perspective, I was enthralled by this game and I loved every minute of it. The mechanisms are fascinating. It's easy to learn. You're doing two actions, you're doing simple things. You're either running, you're gonna move and pick up something, or you're gonna shoot. Mechanisms are easy. Which weapons you want, which ones are out there. Some of them are more powerful than others, but cost more. You're gonna go off and get the ammo for those weapons. You're gonna go get power-ups and then decide whether to use those as powers or if you need to just get rid of it and use it for the ammo. The interesting line of sight there where you can see through, but you can also peek around the corner. Really cool. A lot of the things I liked had to do with the way the damage was spread. So I love that they encourage you to spread the wealth of damage, right? You get more points, or you get a single point for being the first person to hit someone. So people are trying to spread it right off the bat. But then if there's a tie, which happens often, I saw it happen often in our game, it's whoever dealt the earliest blow. So it's a tiebreaker too. So a lot of people are spreading that wealth of damage and trying to get that down. I thought that was cool. The overkill is really cool. Hey, I'm not just gonna kill you, I'm gonna overkill you, and then because of that, you're gonna place, there's gonna be a mark because you want revenge on me, and then I get a bunch of marks from you over the course of the game, and I'm really trying to hide from you, because if you hit me once, not only am I gonna take the damage from that weapon, 1, 2, or 3, whatever it does, but I'm also gonna get all the marked that you gave me too. So you might want to mark somebody a few times with some of the weapons and then time it right that you get them towards the end and boom, 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 you get the kill shot, you get your thing up there. Very interesting. That whole scoring mechanism at the top is awesome, where if you do overkill someone, you get some extra scoring up there, which again, huge end game points. I loved that as well. So overall, again, this isn't something I normally would like, but I really did like it. It did feel like a Euro game, even though you're running around and doing this combat. But the combat was so streamlined. It's like, oh, I did damage to you, and everyone's laughing at the cool, nail gun, and some things that can go through the walls, and just really cool weapons. Some of the weapons you can like suck people into another room that's closer, and then you can deal damage to them. Just really cool ideas, really awesome weapons. We played the 5 skull game, which it says is what you should do for your first game. It still took us about an hour, but it was our first time playing. It says to play with 8 skulls for your full game, but we did not just play the sudden death. We played the final frenzy where you flip the board over, and that was cool too. It's like, hey, it's the last round. Okay, flip the board over. Now the points are different, our abilities are different, and it really brings a lot of excitement to that last round. I didn't even know about these other 2 methods, the domination mode and the turret mode, when I had played the demo. Maybe they weren't even done yet. But so I'm really interested. After my first play, I could say this is one of the best games I've played all year, period. It's amazing. And I'm really interested in getting a full review done to kind of go over it, not only just playing it again the regular way, but also sudden death and also domination and turret, and tell you how it is. And just give it a little bit more of a full review. But after one play, I could say this is one of the best games I played all year. It's not something I normally would like. So if you don't like this style of game, but you like Euro games, give this one a try. Because like me, you might be enamored by it. And if you do like that running around Ameritrash, but you also like Euros, this is going to be a no-brainer. This game is going to be huge. It's going to be one of the best releases of the year. So there you have it. There's my mini one-play review of Adrenaline, and I'm really looking to play more of it.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for backing me on Kickstarter and making this season become a reality. I'd like to especially thank those here that have backed me at the credit level. Now, these video reviews are also available by audio on our podcast. It's the intros and the final thoughts on GameBoyGeek.com. Click podcast.